Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo, Senior Editor here at thecoalition.com, and welcome to a brand new episode of TK Spotlight, where I bring on phenomenal individuals from throughout the gaming industry and the various corners of the internet to talk about some cool stuff, talk about some of the good that they've done, and various other topics here on the show. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying all the different episodes we've been putting on iTunes, on YouTube, and such. But today I got a brand new episode. I decided to bring on Johnny Marcos, who is the founder of Kustom Kontrollerz, talk a little bit about some tech, talk a little bit about some swag, and a whole bunch of other stuff relating to gaming peripherals and everything else. So, Johnny, what's happening? How you been?
I've been good, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So, you're the founder of Kustom Kontrollerz. You guys make custom designs and modifications to various controllers, both PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and I think I've even seen some legacy stuff on there, including Xbox 360 and PS3. I mean, how did you guys kind of come into being, and how did you guys, kind of get into the business of making custom stuff like that?
Man, honestly, I mean, we do it all. We also do the consoles and PC and everything. We're getting into everything now. But starting out, I was actually working in the music industry as a social media consultant, and did that for a little bit for, say, roughly 6 months to a year.
Cool. And
then from there, it got too shady, and started getting into customizing controllers. First one was, I believe, a PS3 controller. Did a little Iron Man tribute, gold shell, red buttons, something, simple and clean. And from there, posted on social media. People lost it, and everybody was starting to ask me, oh, can you do my controller? How about mine? How about mine? So slowly but surely, I started doing, free controllers here and there just to get my name out. And then, slowly a couple people seen it and started ordering, and it just blew up in a few years.
That's pretty cool. Now, when you say shady, from getting out of the music business and stuff, did it just not become fun anymore, or it became a little bit too difficult, or things just became too inconvenient? I mean, what was the deal with that?
Well, see, in the music industry, everybody's, I want to say, somewhat two-faced. If it's not going their way, it's the highway, and screw you. So
a little pompous.
I've seen it a lot. Yeah, I've seen it a lot, and sometimes I wouldn't get paid for what I was doing, so I just left.
Yeah, that's not fun. You got to get paid. Got to get that bag. But either way, though, so about Kustom Kontrollerz, again, you guys mentioned you're doing pretty much everything as far as like peripherals for various different platforms and stuff. What's the appeal of that for? I mean, there's a certain swag that goes into it for various people on social media. The idea of just having something that just looks different than the standard stock controller you could get in the store and stuff. I mean, what does that really mean to you? And like, what is it really that you see a lot from clients that go to you wanting to make a custom controller?
Well, I mean, when I was starting out, I had no clue what I was getting myself into. I didn't know about, other companies that were doing it. I thought I was the first one doing it. Come to find out, I wasn't. But, through the years, I've seen different companies do different things. But what made me different than the rest was the certain customization and the appeal that it had to other people. Because the way that we customize is, I like to go full out. I don't like to limit anybody's creativity. If they got an idea and they want to put it on a controller or a console or whatever it is, I push the envelope. Even if it's copyrighted, which is bad, I still try to make the consumer happy and get it done. And if I get dinged for copyright, I try to work it out with whoever it is. And if I have to pay like royalty fees, I'll still come out the pocket and pay. I just like to make everybody happy and give them exactly what they're paying for. So I feel like that's what has me stand out from everybody else.
So you mentioned copyright stuff. Has that ever really become a big issue at any point? Because I've only looked at the website briefly, just like skimmed through, just to see the types of stuff that you guys do on the controllers and obviously the other pieces of tech. Has it ever been where, somebody sent you a cease and desist, or maybe you got sued or anything? Did it ever get to a point where it became a little bit more serious than just like saying like, hey, what are you doing?
No, because, again, I still remember when I was starting out, I did a controller for Captain Redbeard, who used to do all the interviews on GameStop TV. Mm-hmm. And I did Ronnie 2K from NBA 2K. I did 2 controllers for them, and then I was starting to use the 2K logo for certain people who wanted it on their controllers, and they ended up reaching out to me, and they said, you know what, after these controllers, you can't use the logo anymore. Ended up having me sign a NDA for, you know, working with them in the future. So that really didn't hurt or damage the relationship. We still work together, and they always send me, you know, various NBA players to work with. And then another one was the Destiny 2 controllers that we put out. It was gaining a lot of attention. A lot of people wanted it. A lot of people wanted to buy it. We tried getting Destiny and Bungie on board, and lo and behold, they send me a email from their legal team threatening me to take down everything, or I would fall into some legal issues. And it was taken down, and a whole bunch of other companies try to replicate what we were doing, and they caught them and shut them down too.
So when things like that happen, because again, I don't think that's something that gets really talked about a lot, especially with third-party or off-branded, off-first-party brand type of stuff. You know, in the case that you mentioned with Destiny and Bungie, I mean, was there ever a discussion with them maybe to just kind of, you know, work with them in order to make that a little bit more legitimate, a little bit much more quote-unquote legal? Or was it that they were just looking at it where somebody's using our IP and kind of making money off of it and we're not getting any of that?
They were looking at it as if I was selling their logos and images on the controller, and they weren't getting anything out of it. Even though I contacted various people in Bungie and Activision and Destiny and told them, look, I'll pay a royalty fee. I'll work out a percentage, but I have a lot of people that want to buy the controller. And it was funny too, because as soon as I took it down, they released the PS4 controller for Destiny 2, and everybody just gave them hell.
Maybe that was maybe that the timing of that was a little too convenient.
Maybe.
But I'm also curious to know if, like, what about companies that have come to you, or maybe that you've gone to, that have actually spawned a really good working relationship like that? Maybe any sort of collaborations or special editions that you were able to do for, like, again, Xbox One or PS4 controllers, or even just for the consoles, the skins themselves. I mean, has there been ones that have really kind of taken up a life of their own or been really popular?
I mean, a lot of the collaborations that I usually do are with a lot of rappers, just because they also have a gaming fan base that they really haven't tapped into. So that's where I come in, and I do a collaboration with them and put together, you know, something that is pretty much their brand and their fans love it. And I've done a couple where they just sold out, and I've had people, you know, contact me, try to pay double or even triple the price what we were selling them for.
That's awesome.
And they just go. But I mean, if we're talking about like gaming companies that have reached out to me,
yeah,
I know Microsoft actually reached out to me back at E3, and we did 2 Halo War 2 controllers for them, and I believe they wanted to give them away or something like that. So I'm still waiting for that to happen.
So you mentioned musical artists, hip-hop artists that have come to you, and you've worked in collaboration with them. I mean, I saw on social media the one that you were talking about with T-Pain that happened recently, which I thought looked pretty cool. It was interesting, the design of the controller that you guys made for him. But what other artists have you guys been able to work with? Or, you know, has that also spawned from maybe some of your relationships in the music industry to make that type of stuff happen?
Well, that's the thing. When I was in the music industry, I did a lot of social media marketing and consulting. So I grew a long list of clients and people that I knew. So when I transferred over to doing controllers, I had them in my back pocket. But I've done work with Chris Webby, who's an underground rapper, The Game, Snoop Dogg, T-Pain, like you said. This is the second time around I actually did a controller for him.
Nice.
Mayweather, I've done. Trying to think who else. DJ Ski. I've done quite a few. And they usually put the word out. I've done YG. I've done. If we're talking about celebrities, I've done John Wall, D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
That's pretty cool. Now, is there any that, or celebrities or musical artists or otherwise, that maybe that you want to, that just hasn't happened yet? Like, if you had to shoot your shot now, like, which person would you want to actually be able to collab with them to do some sort of cool custom controller that people could buy?
It's funny. It's funny you asked that, because the top 3 that I always wanted to work with when I started this was The Game, Snoop Dogg, and 50 Cent. So
That'd be
50
awesome.
last one on the list. And from what I've been told, he's a little difficult to work with, just because if you're not talking about money, he won't work with you. But pretty sure I can get my way around it.
He's dabbled in gaming before. He had 2 video games with his name on it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
he'd be open to that. But that sounds pretty cool. I mean, what about other artists that maybe might be outside of the realm of maybe hip hop and stuff? Maybe about pop artists like, just throw random names out there. Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake or maybe Adele or even well, not obviously Beyonce or any other sort of like musical artists that are outside that typical bubble, that typical realm. Would that be something you would explore down the line in the future?
Of course, they're more than welcomed, and it's funny you mentioned a couple names, and there's one of them that sits out there that actually is in the works. I won't say which one, but it's out there in the works, and hopefully it'll happen fairly soon this year. And once it does, it'll be all over social media.
That'd be really cool.
I just don't want to say exactly who yet.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully it goes out well and stuff. But now I want to talk a little bit about the hardware. I mean, what exactly,
Sure.
The process, some of the stuff that you probably brainstorm or you think about when you're going in to make a custom controller, whether it's a collaboration or just something original and different and unique that you guys want to put out there for people to buy. I mean, what really goes through your head when going through this?
So now it's at the point where I usually sit there and tell people, what is it that they're looking to get or how they want it designed. They'll give me their idea, and then I'll go back to the drawing board, take their idea, and kind of put my twist to it. But honestly, like I said, it's whatever they have in mind. Like you brought up T-Pain's, we threw some gears on there that a lot of people didn't expect, and he didn't even expect himself. He thought it was going to be painted on, but we threw some gears on there just to give it more of an aesthetic look. But really, it all depends on whatever they want. We usually put our twist to it, try to make it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. And everything's hand-painted from start to finish. And a lot of people look at it thinking or assuming it's a sticker. And they try to sit there and try to rub it off and try to peel it off. But it's all hand-painted from beginning to end.
That's pretty cool. So what are some of the things that maybe, as you guys put controllers out there and people buy them and stuff, what are some of the things that people probably don't take a grasp onto as much? I mean, some of the controllers that maybe might not do as well as compared to other designs and stuff. Is there like a pattern that you guys look at some point on the back end that's like, all of a sudden people are getting this type of color or this type of design or this type of approach to our controllers, but they're not taking a liking to this kind over here?
Well, we've seen a couple controllers take off where they sell a lot more of than others from what we assumed, and we usually if this type of controller doesn't sell, we'll just keep pushing this one, and we still every now and then we'll tweet out different mock-ups and designs just to spark people's interest. But honestly, it's whatever moves. So we try to make everybody happy. If we don't have it on the website or it's not been done, we'll find a way to get it made.
So, in your opinion, having worked with a variety of different controllers on all different platforms, which one do you feel like is the most intricate or the most difficult to work with? Would it be like Xbox One controllers or Xbox controllers, PlayStation controllers? Like, which one is the one that you have to really either think out of the box or really go in there and mess around with some stuff in order to create the designs that you guys do?
I think the most difficult too would be the PS4 controllers, just because say I get some custom parts made for it. Sometimes they won't fit for the certain models, so I would have to go in and modify it a bit just to make it all fit in. And then the other one would be the Nintendo Switch controllers, the Joy-Cons. Those are just too tedious just to take apart and put back together.
So you mentioned the Joy-Cons. Like when new tech comes out, when let's say like Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony releases a new console, and like they got like obviously they show their new designs, maybe they have a little bit of some tweaks to the controllers and stuff. Are you automatically thinking about, okay, how can we customize this or how can we get stuff out like quickly around the time of launch, or is there like a certain other things you have to think about when new hardware comes out?
No, I usually if they announce new hardware, say coming out next year in a couple months or whenever. I usually have my graphics team put together a Photoshop image of a stock controller, whatever controller is coming out, and we'll sit there and just start coming out with designs and different looks and colorways and stuff like that, and just put it out to the public see what they say, and hopefully spark some interest from, the higher ups, that wherever it's coming from, and possibly do something with them.
Interesting. So let me ask you this then, because obviously a lot of what you guys do is more based on aesthetic, is more on visuals, is more as looks and stuff.
Right.
We talked a little bit about swag. I mean, to you, what makes a controller look good? Or what is it that, when it comes to custom designs, makes a controller stand out or look nice or beautiful to you, that people really take a liking to? Or at least in your opinion, like what really is something that you take a liking to when designing these controllers like that?
Something with swag and something that stands out. Fairly recent is putting LEDs in the controllers, which I've seen people do in the past.
We reviewed a few of them. We have a couple that we've reviewed that have LED lights in them.
Yeah, which if I'm correct, they turn on when you turn on the controller itself.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is we got two different models. We have one that works with an app that we had made. So it's all Bluetooth functional and works off your phone. And then we have another one where, which was T-Pain's, where it has a switch on the bottom that you can turn on and off. So we're starting to dabble more into that, and a lot of people are loving that. So we're doing certain designs where, say it's a logo or it's their name, or even if it's just a clear shell or clear buttons, we're lighting it all up.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that sounds interesting because, again, the controllers that I mentioned that we reviewed on the Koalition in the past have been ones that, once you connect it to the console, that they do very limited amount of functionality with the lights and stuff, based on what you're doing either with the game or just how it's connected and stuff. But to spin off of that, what other type of functionality or type of, offshoots or additional stuff do you want to see in modern-day controllers? I mean, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation or even Nintendo for that matter, is there something that you feel like hasn't really been addressed yet or hasn't been kind of thought about with some of the controllers being put out now?
The different types, I believe it's just certain colorways and certain designs, and they usually come out with that later, maybe if it's a couple months or a couple years afterwards, just to boost in sales. But that's where we come in and we make the customization happen. So that's where I feel like they kind of hurt on, because a lot of people are like, oh, I like that, but can you guys make it in, this design or that color, or this type of material?
So as someone that, again, is exposed to a lot of this tech from many different consoles and stuff, do you think moving forward, past 2020 or even 2025, when we get to 5-10 years from now, do you think that the way that we play games, as far as the design of the controllers or even how we go about interacting with the games, do you think that's going to change a lot? As someone that messes with hardware outside of just being part of the first parties that are making these consoles.
So you saying how will it change?
Yeah, do you think the controllers themselves, the design, or just the way we play games is going to change a lot over the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, you look at it now where VR is playing a big part. Everybody's getting into the Oculus Rift, the PS VR, and the Vive and all that. Everybody's getting into those, and you'd be surprised. There's people that also want to do custom pieces on them, and I'm starting to do that. I was in talks with Will.i.am and his people a couple weeks back, and they're interested in doing a couple of VR headsets for them personally. So I see it still growing and us getting more into AR and VR gaming, but the whole customization aspect will still play a big part.
Yeah, that was going to segue right into my next question, going into other stuff outside of some of the tech that you guys mess with now, going to the AR sets, going to the controllers or the Move controllers and stuff like that. And again, you mentioned the Joy-Cons. Do you think eventually, besides the collaborations with different celebs or companies and stuff, do you guys think that at some point you'll get into more original stuff with that type of tech down the line?
Developing our own type of controllers and stuff like that?
Well, custom controllers for a custom, for example, just a Vive headset or an Oculus headset, or even, and again, I said outside of just collaborations with companies, but you could throw in PSVR into there and stuff. But as opposed to working with a Will.i.am or another celebrity, doing a custom design just for that tech that's just original.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, we like I said, we sit there all day and we brainstorm and come up with different designs and colorways and materials. And I mean, we're starting to get into controllers where we're actually wrapping them in different types of fabrics. So, snake skin, crocodile skin, the Louis Vuitton texture, all that. We're starting to dab into that more, which again other people haven't done and I haven't seen anybody do, and we're viewing it more as a piece of art and a work of art rather than just a simple controller that you get customized.
I think that's awesome. I mean, to me, that sounds interesting because obviously different types of fabrics and textures. But and you're right, I haven't seen something like that. But I'd be curious to know if working or at least trying to figure that out is like super difficult. Because I mean, again, you're working with fabrics like you mentioned, Louis Vuitton, snake skin. Like I can't even imagine something like that on a controller making it feel comfortable and working.
You'd be surprised. I've had people contact me and try to do something with texture. Why? I don't know, but again, I haven't seen it. It's out of the box. It's something different. So, I mean, I've had conversations with people who tell me to do, kind of like a Air Jordan silhouette where it looks like a Jordan shoe and it feels like a Jordan shoe, but it's a controller.
That's pretty out there.
Yeah, it's out there, and trust me, I've thought about it for years and how to make it happen and how to do it the right way and make it look clean. So it's getting to the point where it's almost coming to life.
That's awesome. I would love to see how that plays out because to me, if something like that works, that opens up a whole new avenue of like different types of like tech and customization and just uniqueness, and the style of like how we like express ourselves, through our tech and how we use it and stuff. But final question, which is the one that we ask everybody who comes on TK Spotlight. What is one thing to all the listeners that you could give to them, that you could tell them, or feel like they could get something out of listening to this episode and, through your experience and through, your craft and stuff that you've done through custom controllers, what is one thing you feel like you could give to them by telling them?
Honestly, don't give up. I know it's cliche and everybody says don't give up, keep working hard. It's the real deal. I've had so many people tell me no. I've had a ton of people tell me, oh, you charge way too much, or whatever it may be, and they come to find out and see, again, it goes back to the celebrities and just the people I work with. That again, that's how I built my brand and how I stayed in my own lane. And they see that and they come back to fruition and they're like, okay, maybe he does some quality work. Maybe he really does what he says and it's worth the money, and they just go after it. And again, I was just like everybody else. I was a nobody. Nobody knew who I was. I clawed and experimented and tried to get my name out there, and I came out of the pocket multiple times just to hope I'd get a post or get some kind of notice or something like that, and it just took time till I figured out who I know I can work with that will actually look out for me, and those who I'll work with and they'll just take it and go.
That's awesome. That's good words. That's some good thought. Good food for thought there. Johnny, thank you for chatting it up with me on TK Spotlight here. It's awesome having you on here. We tried to get this done for a while because, with scheduling stuff, but I'm glad at least we were able to talk with everybody because, you're busy. You're out here doing stuff.
I appreciate it, man. No, I appreciate you, reaching out and having me. And I know we're trying to make it happen, and it fell into like All-Star Weekend and then this week. And yeah, we finally got it done. And I hope, everybody enjoys it and, gets something out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Where can everybody find you right now? You're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you got the website. Where can everybody check out your stuff?
If they want to see all the custom work, Instagram.com/custom controllers, custom with a K, controllers with a K, and then a Z at the end. A lot of people put an S. To see all the custom work, Instagram, to get a hold of me, either Instagram or Twitter. The website's up there. It's a lot of basic stuff, but we're actually updating it in the process right now and adding more of the custom work. And we're actually working on a controller creator where people could just go in and design their own controller now. So we have a lot in the works, but social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, best places to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Yeah, guys that are listening now, there'll be links to that in the description box and on the website. So you just go directly to that as you're listening to this episode or whatnot. But Johnny, thank you again for coming on to the show. Make sure you guys, okay, that are listening, leave me a comment down below in the comment section on YouTube. And don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the Koalition's YouTube channel for all our videos involving TK Spotlight, new co-op podcast episodes, developer interviews, reviews, and gameplay impressions. We got a whole bunch of stuff that's original, exciting, and exclusive that you're all going to love. But with that being said, we will talk to you again very soon. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody.